The Alternative Digitalk. Real issues, real talk.
Hello beautiful people, you're welcome to the Snap Talk with your girl Teddy Tenjo every Saturday right from 6 to 7.
It is your responsibility omwana wo kubeera mu nyumba nga teyasuze bweru mbo bamubanja rent. Koyo kulaba abalenzi abasajja abakunga butuufu tebabuulirirwa nga babulamu.
Towerabira nti tuli wano ku the Alternative Digitalk. Mukwano gwange gwali topic kiri wandyagadde twogereko. Is it about family?
You can take your time, look for a job, stabilize, men will come, men will always be there, you will get the men. Bonna goyagala musajja yina goyagala ojja mufuna.
Embaga ketuuke. Bino bintu byasenga na ojja bafuna.
Naye ng'oli asitudde tuyakedde ku macabaga nti nsitudde tu. Naye nga mutuufu agambye nti gy'akyali muto.
Is it outside family? Is it society? Oh, could it be relationships? Just be commenting a topic yina gyandyagadde twogereko tujjako tujogera kwano ku the Alternative Digitalk ku share enganzi the Snap Talk.
Fellow citizens, following the sequence of events, Uganda seems to be at political crossroads.
I'm not a servant of anybody.
Madam, I know the law.
As such, Alternative Digital brings you the Interface Show with retired Colonel Dr. Kizza Besigye.
Let's keep on the same page on Alternative Digitalk,
As he gives you the alternatives on the transition question, rule of law, human rights and freedom, youth inclusion in governance, economic stagnation, as he confirms.
I'll be always here Saturday from 10 a.m. in the morning. Be there.
Don't miss the live discussion on the Alternative Uganda, Digitalk TV Facebook pages, and the Alternative Uganda YouTube channel.
The Alternative Digitalk. Real issues, real talk.
Amacha amalungi gomunanga kedde naffe ku program The Mighty Drive nkubuuza kwena gye sinzidde okubanga otulaba atulabira mu ggwanga Uganda n'ebitundu by'eggwanga eby'enjawulo. Nkwebaza nnyo omulimu gw'okola gw'amaanyi ate era gwa ttendo. Nze omumbejja luwedde Lilian era nga ntuuse okubanga mbawa ebimu ku ebyo ebyabadde mu mawulire agabadde ate ggwe gy'otaasobodde kubeera. Naye ng'olunaku olwaleero lunaku lwakuna ennaku z'omwezi tubala 13 tuli mwezi ogwa mukulukusa bitungotungo abangi gwe mumanyi nga ctober. Tuli mu mwaka ogwa 2022 wenjogerera ndowooza emyezi tusigaze ebiri gyokka okubanga omwaka 2022 tuguwunzika. Waliwo abatandika n'ebiruubirire oba n'ebirooto ebyokutuukiriza mu mwaka guno ogwa 2022. Njagala okubuuza otuuseewa? Waliwo abawandiika nti nze njagala awo tunaatuukira mu Gw'ekkumi ennyumba yange munnange maze okubanga ngisereka. Bannange otuuseewa? Amaliriza okusereka ennyumba eyo gye wateekateeka okubanga osereka. Abalina ebirooto ebirala ate ebyenjawulo, abaali balina ebirooto ebyokuddayo okusoma, bannange mutuuseewa? Ekansubire nti mukola okulaba nga ate mutuukiriza ebirooto ebyo bye mulina. Nenze ntuuse okubanga ate mbawa ebimu ku ebyo ebyabadde mu mawulire ate agabadde gwe gy'otasobodde kubeera era nga The Mighty Global News Updates. Nze omumbejja luwedde Lilian mbaaniriza nnyo olwalero. Mu studios tugenda kubeera n'abagenyi ab'enjawulo okuli omukyala Ayebare Denise nonno Miss Tourism Kigezi ate ng'era ye founder wa A Better Life munango omukyalo yagenda kubanga atwegatako olunaku luno olwaleero okukwogatta ate omukyala Kaitesi Shallon nonno National Coordinator UN Volunteers bagenda kubanga boogera ku nsonga ate ezikwatagana ku bavubuka bwekituuka ku kukulaakulanya ate societies ez'enjawulo w'ebitundu gye bawangalira. Discussion eno munnange omukulu agenda okugibeera mu mitambo ye mukulu Edgar Matthew Karuhanga agenda kuba tuliddemu omukulu Rogers tuli ahabwe atewulira bulungi naye nga munnange discussion eno oba oyagala kubeera kitundutundu ku yo genda butereevu ku page yaffe ya The Alternative Uganda mu comment section ate woba oteeka endowooza yo omukulu ajja kubanga agisoma nga show tennaba kubanga ewunzikibwa nkutegeeza ewunzikibwa ku ssaawa 3 ez'okumakya so bw'oba oyagala kubeera kitundutundu ku discussion eyo osobola okubanga oyita mu comment section ate naawe nosobola okubanga oteesa ku mulamwa guno naye nga ngenda kubanga ntandika butereevu ebimu ku byabadde mawulire ate agabadde jota abadde olunaku olweggulo kiraawo ssaawa zabadde nga 2 ez'ekiro omukulembeze w'eggwanga General Yoweri Kaguta Museveni yayogeddeko eri eggwanga ku kirwadde kino ekya Ebola. Ebola munnange ekirwadde kino kyazuulibwa ate omwezi oguwedde era nga munange permanent secretary Dr. Diana Twine yavaayo n'atutegeeza nga ekirwadde kya Ebola bwe kimaze okuba nga kizuulibwa mu ggwanga erya Uganda. Ono nno ye permanent secretary wa ministry ey'ebyobulamu mu ggwanga lino erya Uganda era nga ekirwadde kino kyasooka kuzuulibwa mu district ey'e Mubende ate ne walyoka waddawo districts ate munnange endala. Olunaku olw'ejjo omukulembeze w'eggwanga yavuddeyo n'ayogerako eri bannayuganda ku kirwadde kino ekya Ebola naye nga okusinga essira yalitadde nnyo ku basawo ab'ekinnansi. Abantu bangi nnyo ababadde bafuna obulwadde buno naye ng'ate ekifo ky'okuddukira mu malwaliro okufuna obuyambi bano nno ate abamu babadde nga bagenda mu basawo ate ab'ekinnansi okubanga bafuna obujjanjabi abamu nga balowooza anti munnange babaloze naye nga abantu bano babadde balwadde abadde bafuna obulwadde obwa Ebola era n'ategeeza nti munnange abasawo bano ab'ekinnansi baali badde ate tebaddamu kujjanjaba abantu bonna abalwadde oba baali badde tebakkiriza balwadde kubanga ate bagenda munnange mu bifo ebyokubanga bafuna obujjanjabi nti abantu bano munnange bwowulira nga olinamu signs ezireta oba signs eziraga nti omuntu olina obulwadde bwa Ebola munnange kukubiriza nti genda mu ddwaliro erikuli okumpi ofune obujjanjabi naye ate era yagambye n'abasawo okubeera abeegendereza nga bakola ku balwadde nti omulwadde ne bwajja nga akugamba nti just mutwe gwe gunnuma munnange yambala ebikozesebwa abeera ne mask yateekako gloves kwegamba weesabike munneesabike eri esookerwako okulaba nti ohandling omulwadde ono because oba tumanyi mulwadde ono wajja avudde bantu ki bakutteko n'abantu ate abalala babeera asisinkanye ndoza example ate era gye yawadde yabadde ya twagira yes ono ne yafuna ekirwadde ekya Ebola ate n'atambula n'agenda eruweero so bw'atuuka eruweero munnange embeera netatambula bulungi ne bamukwata ne bamutwala mu ddwaliro ery'ekiruddu era ng'ono gye yafiira ndoza yafa ssaawa awo nga 9 ng'obudde saa 9 ez'omutumbi yes ndoza bwento bwennyina okukyogera ono nno yafa ng'obudde era bunaatera okubanga buca era n'ategeeza nti abantu be yasisinkana mu kkubo bwe yali agenda eruweero bw'abanga yakozesa taxi abantu bayogera nabo abantu be yakwatako mu ngalo baali badde munnanga ate balaba omusawo okuba nti bakeberebwa bwe baba nga bali bulungi ate ekyo nno kye kisinga okubeera ate ekirungi era n'ategeeza anti abasumbo bate bannaddiini munnange nabo bali badde tebakkiriza abantu balwadde kubanga bagenda okubanga babasabira okufuna ebyamagero we munnange abantu bangi nnyo ababadde nga bafuna okusomozebwa okwenjawulo oba obulwadde obw'enjawulo n'agendako ew'omusumba amusabire naye ate omukulembeze w'eggwanga yasabye abannaddiini obutakkiriza ate balwadde bonna kujja kubasabira kufuna byamagero byakuwona era nga munnange yategeezeza nti tulina okwerinda ekirwadde kino ekya Ebola ate tusobole okubanga tukirwanyisa era nayongera n'okukatiriza ensonga waliwo amawulire agadde gatambula nti mu kibuga Kampala oba mu kibuga ky'eggwanga ekikulu Kampala waliwo omulwadde yazuuliddwa ng'alina ekirwadde kino ekya Ebola naye n'ategeeza nti tewali mulwadde yenna yazuuliddwa ng'alina obulwadde buno obwa Ebola era n'ategeeza bannayuganda era n'abasaba okubeera ate abakkakkamu awamu n'okugoberera ate amateeka g'abasawo ate okuba nti tusobola okweŋŋanga oba okuvuunuka ekirwadde kino ekya Ebola n'ategeeza nti abantu balekerawo okwekwata mu ngalo munnange buli lw'osinkana omuntu n'oyagala omuwa engalo mwebongeko okusobola okulaba ng'ate munnange twekuuma ekirwadde kino ekya Ebola nga bwe twasobola ate okumega ekirwadde kya COVID-19 enzikiriza nti nakino ekya Ebola tujja kubanga nakyo tukimega naye ng'era wenjogerera munnange mu district yo ey'Emubende ewasooka okuzuulibwa omulwadde omuntu eyalina obulwadde buno obwa Ebola munnange abakulembeze mu district eyo bagenze maaso n'okubanga bakola kaweefube ate ow'okutambula nju ku nju okulaba baani ate abatatadde munnange mu nkola omulimu gw'okulwanyisa ekirwadde kino ekya Ebola kwegamba mubaamu ebikozesebwa ebirina okubanga bikozesebwa abantu bano especially abalina ebifuba ebyolukale munnange okulaba nti basobola okubanga bakabinga ekirwadde kya Ebola naye nga bagenze mu bitundu ebyenjawulo era ne basanga nga abantu bano munnange tebatadde mu nkola ate amateeka agagobererwa mu bitundu gye bawangalira okusobola okulaba nti ekirwadde kino ekya Ebola kirinnyibwa konfete era ne baggalawo ebifo ebyo munnange wabadde nga abantu bano tebakoze nga bwe balina kubeera nga bakola bw'otuddako mu kibuga ekikulu ekya Kampala munnange emirimu gyo gikyagenda mu maaso gikyagenda bukwakku oyinza n'okulowooza nti mu ggwanga tetuyinaamu kirwadde kyonna kyonna ate munnange kitulina kweraliikirirako mu kibuga Kampala abantu bakyagenda mu maaso n'emirimu gyabwe batambula kwegamba buli omu agenda mu maaso n'okubanga akola ate ki kye yeetaaga okubanga akola naye omukyala Sarah Zalwa ng'onono yamyuka avunaanyizibwa ku byobulamu mu KCCA yagambye nti bakola ekisoboka kyonna okulaba nga bategeeza abantu ku kirwadde kino ekya Ebola batadde ebipande ebyenjawulo mu bitundu era ebyenjawulo mu kibuga Kampala wamu ate n'okubanga bayisaamu ebizindaala ebyenjawulo okwongera okutegeeza abantu okwekuuma ate ekirwadde kino ekya Ebola. Minisita w'ebyobulamu Dr. General Sacheng ate ye yategeezezza nti eggwanga ligenda kufuna ate eddagala okuva mu Bungereza okuviira ddala mu Oxford nnono ligenda kuyambako ate okuziyiza ensaasaana ey'ekirwadde kino ekya Ebola era ng'eddagala lino lyakutuuka mu ggwanga ate sabbiiti ejja naye eddagala lino munnange likyagenda mu maaso n'okubanga ligezesebwa era nga lino lye ligenda okubanga lireetebwa mu ggwanga sabbiiti ejja okusobola okulaba nga liziyiza ensaasaana ey'ekirwadde kino ekya Ebola aganno ge mawulire ate agavudde saidi eyo tukyagenda mu maaso munnange okwongerako mu maaso munnange abannakibiina kya NRM nabo bavuddeyo munnange nga beebuuza oba General Muhoozi Kainerugaba alina interest yonna okwesimbawo mu mwaka ogwa 2026 okusinziira ku mbeera nga bwe badde etambula oba nga bwe bazze balaba ate ebintu ebyenjawulo era nga kino nno kyavudde kuba nti olunaku lwe baali Bali bambaza General Muhoozi ebitiibwa bye byonna ebya General munnange bwe yali ate ava mu kifo kiri ekya Chief Land Forces yategeeza nti essira agenda kuliteeka nnyo mu kukulaakulanya abavubuka nga munnange nga presidential advisor so bano nga beebuuza alina interest yonna okubanga yeesimbawo mu mwaka ogwa 2026 mu kalulu ate akanaabeera kazeeko era nga baagala aveeyo munnange abategeeze wa watuufu wayimiridde nenga bwemba neyongeddeyo mawulire amalala ate kaliisoliiso wa government oba IGG ono nate naye yavuddeyo n'ayogera ku nsonga ya passport awamu ne national IDs gye buvuddeko awo bannayuganda bangi babadde beemulugunya kukuba nti ba-applying okufuna passport zaabwe naye nga ate kitutte ebbanga nga abantu bano tebanaba kubanga bazifuna. Mukyala Farida olunaku lw'ejjo bwe yabadde atuwa updates yatutegeezezza nti munnange passports zazeemu okubanga zikubibwa mu bujjuvu bwazo nti ebbanga eriise babadde nga bakubako entonotono olw'ensonga nti wabaddewo ensonga ezibalemesezza naye nga zo passports bazeemu okubanga bazikubira ddala mu bujjuvu era IGG munnange ye yategeezezza nti yabadde afunye okwemulugunya okw'enjawulo okuva mu bannayuganda nga beemulugunya okuba nti ba-applyinga okufuna passports zaabwe awamu ne national IDs naye process eno nga etwala obudde buwanvu. Nategeeza nti bannayuganda munnange tebeetuulako bwe baba nga tebafuna mpeereza nnungi oba ate empeereza ennungamu olw'ensonga nti ebitongole bino ebya gavumenti birina okuba nga ate bikola emirimu gyabyo okuba nga baweereza bannayuganda. Bino nno yebyogedde mu gimu ku mikolo gy'okujaguza ofiisi eno ey'akaliisoliiso wa gavumenti ago nno ge mawulire ate agava eruddeeyo naye okuzzaako emabega katono mbadde njagala nkuwe embeera nga bweyimiridde y'ekirwadde kino ekya Ebola mu bitundu ebyenjawulo nga bw'otunuulira mu district ey'Emubende mu ggombolola y'e Madudu baafunayo abalwadde 16 naye nga sofa abaakafa bali 7 mu Eastern Division baali 7 naye nga eyakafa ali omu mu Western Division baali 6 nengere yakafa ali omu Bayoza yali omu era naafa munnange Kasambya bali 3 naye nga tewannaba kubaayo afa Kibalinga yali omu era naye naafa Kiruma bali 6 ne kufaako 3 Kitanga yali omu naye nga ate tewannaba kubaayo afa Ekiyuni bali 3 2 ku bo bafa mu district y'e Kasanda mu gombola y'e Kasanda munaye bazuulayo 2 naye nga ate tekunnaba kubaako afa Kalwana bazuulayo omu naye nga era tekunnaba kubaako afa mu district ey'Ekyegwegwa mu Kasule sub county bazuulayo omu naye tannaba kubanga afa mu Kagadi Trading Center bazuulayo omu era n'afa ne Bunyandabu mu Rimi Town Center munnange bazuulayo mulwadde omu naye ate tannaba kubanga afa. Ennamba y'abantu abazuuliddwa okubanga balina ekirwadde kino ekya Ebola bali 54 naye nga 19 ku bano bamazeddwa okubanga balusulamu akaba naye omukulembeze w'eggwanga bwe yabadde ayogera olunaku olw'ejjo yategeeza nti abantu abawerera ddala 2 basobodde okubanga basuuka ekirwadde kino ekya Ebola. Soka neyongereyo n'amawulire ate amalala ngenda kubanga ntuuka ku mboozi y'omulamuzi Kisakye ono nno yawaaba omusango mwe yatwalira ne Chief Justice Owinyi Dolo okono n'ateekako ateekerateekera essiga eddamuzi omukulu Pius Bigirimana omuwandiisi wa kkooti enkulu omukyala Sarah Langa ate nga akola ku nsonga z'abakozi munnange omukulu Apofia Tumwina naye teyamutaliza ku nsonga z'okuba nti munnange ku nsonga y'okuba nti bafutyanka eddembe lye era nga munnange ono nno yatwaliramu ne Attorney General omukulu Kiryowa Kiwanuka era ng'ono yategeeza nti ono nno ate yavuddeyo n'asaba kkooti ate ekola Constitutional Court oba etaputa semateeka okubanga omusango guno munnange bagugoba oba okwemulugunya kw'omulamuzi Kisakye munnange ate bagugoba era n'ategeeza nti munnange kuno kulinganga kufutyanka kunoonyereza kwe bamukolako olw'enneeyisa ye omuli n'okwebuzaabuza ku mirimu munnange ebyonna ate byebiri side eyo kinajjukirwa nti omulamuzi ono Esther Kisache yaliko ku pano ey'abalamuzi abaali bawulira omusango gw'ebyokulonda ogwawabirwa akulira ekibiina kya National Unity Platform omukulu Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu ng'awakanya ebyava mu kalulu ke twakakuba emabega aka 2020 era ng'ono yalemesebwa okubanga awa ensala ye ebyaliwo ndooza abasenga mu abiri abamawulire era ng'ono kwe yava ate nagenda mu kooti era ngono yabalanze okubanga balemera fayiro ezimu ez'emisango gyalina okubanga awulira n'egyo gye yasalawo omuli okuwakanya ekyokugaana omukulu Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu okwongerwa obudde okuwoleeta obujulizi mu musango gwe yali awaabye ogw'ebyokulonda oba ate nga wakanya ebyava mu kalulu aka 2020 ye Attorney General yategezeza nti omulamuzi Kisache abantu be yawawaabira okuli ne Chief Justice munnanga abantu bano yawawaabira abantu bakyamu era n'asaba kooti etaputa ssemateeka okwemulugunya kw'omulamuzi Kisache munnanga ate kubeerenga kugobebwa ndooza amawulire tugatambudde sofa tuli mu ddakiika 22 zakayita ku ssaawa emu ey'amakya g'olunaku luno olwaleero ngenda kuba ndooza nga mpunzika n'okwekalakaasa mu ggwanga erya Iran kuno nno ate kukulungudde sabbiiti ate eziwererako ddala era nga sofa abantu abawerera ddala abasoba mu 2 munnange bamaze okuba nga balusuulamu akaba kuno nno okwekalakaasa kwava ku kuba nti waliwo omukyala ow'emyaka 22 eyasibibwa oluvannyuma lw'okumenya amateeka aga hijab naye ate ono bwe yasibibwa oba bwe yakwatibwa munnanga ate n'afiira mu mikono egy'abapoliisi era nga wano nno okwekalakaasa ate wekwatandikira okwekalakaasa kuno kusinze nnyo kukulemberwamu bakyala era nga bano nno munnange balwanirira eddembe lyabwe nga baagala wabeerewo obwenkanya ate munnange mu ggwanga wakati w'abaami engeri gye bayisibwamu kosate n'abakyala era ku nsonga yennyini nga basaba okuba nti nabo bateekebwa ku mwanjo bwe bituuka ku nsonga ez'enjawulo ensonga ate ez'ebyobukulembeze n'ensonga endala ez'enjawulo ezigwa ate mu kkowe eryo okwekalakaasa kuno munnange bo balina eŋŋombo bwe baba nga bagenda mu kwekalakaasa balina eŋŋombo gye bakozesa nga bagamba nti you might never come back. You might never come back. Oyinza obutadda nti bw'ogenda mu kwekalakaasa kuno oyinza obutadda nga oli mulamusi okwekalakaasa kuno kwa kufa na kuwona naye okwekalakaasa kuno munnange mu ggwanga erya Iran kutwalidde ddala ate esabbiiti eziwererako ddala ng'abantu bano beekalakaasa ku nsonga y'eddembe lyabwe ery'obuntu awamu n'obwenkanya ku ngeri ate gye bayisibwamu okusingira ddala abakyala mu ggwanga eryo erya Iran bw'otunula eggwanga erya Iran munnange eggwanga lino lisingamu nnyo abantu abayisiraamu era nga balina amateeka ge bagoberera okugeza olina okuba nga omukyala weebisse wenna obutalaga mubiri gwo yadde oba butakkiriza muntu mulala especially omwami okuba nga ate alaba ebimu ku bitundu by'omubiri gwo era nga munnange mu kwekalakaasa kuno walabiddwako abakyala abatambula nga munnange ate bo tebeebisse nga tebambadde hijabu nga tebeebisse bukaya kwegamba nga batambula ng'abantu ba bulijjo abambadde engoye zaabwe eza bulijjo era nga bano bo bagamba nti ebimu ku ebyo bye birina okuba nga ate bikyusibwa era bye byabaleetedde okuba nga beekalakaasa ndowooza amawulire ngenda kubanga nga wunzikiraawo agabaddeyo mu bitundu ate ebyenjawulo gy'otaasobodde kubanga obeera tugenda kuba tuwumulamu katono nnyo bwe tukomawo omukulu Edgar Matthew Karuhanga wamu n'abagenyi baffe bagenda kubanga ate munnange bagenda maaso n'okutuwa discussion okuli omukyala Ayebare Denise ono nate Miss Tourism Kigezi ate era nga ye founder wa Better Life okono kwesa omukyala Shallon Kaitesi munnanga ate ono National Coordinator UN Volunteers nabo bagenda kubanga batwegattako ensonga ezigenda okwogerwako nsonga z'abavubuka era nga munnange tosaanidde kubeera nga ozibuusa amaaso tugenda kubanga tuwumulamu mu katono nnyo bwe tukomawo discussion egenda kubanga etandikira awo nze omumbejja luwedde Lilian good morning.
The Alternative Digitalk. Real issues, real talk.
Fellow citizens, following the sequence of events, Uganda seems to be at political crossroads.
I'm not a servant of anybody.
Madam, I know the law.
As such, Alternative Digital brings you the Interface Show with retired Colonel Dr. Kiza Besuje.
Let's keep on the same page on Alternative Digitalk,
As he gives you the alternatives on the transition question, rule of law, human rights and freedom, youth inclusion in governance, economic stagnation, as he confirms.
I'll be always here Saturday from 10 a.m. in the morning. Be there.
Don't miss the live discussion on the Alternative Uganda, Digitalk TV Facebook pages, and the Alternative Uganda YouTube channel.
How are you beautiful Ugandans? It's your girl Angel. Welcome to the fancy floor. Who doesn't see my hair, guys? I am super glamorous. Remember, this is the only show where we're going to be talking about fashion.
Please, where are you think? Teaching.
What has been confusing you about fashion? Sorry, you said I should not smile. For all the information about fashion, maintenance of body shape.
I can wear bling bling when I'm going out. So you can wear bling bling going out or any occasion.
We shall be doing all this in the fancy floor. Remember, it airs every Thursday right from 8:30 to 9 with your girl Teddy Tenjo. It is the fancy floor.
You have got to get up pretty early to go do something. We are the Alternative Digitalk. With our mobile studios, we are redefining TV presentation just as technology is setting the pace. We are blending our approach with fresh, perspectively designed breakfast show, The Mighty Drive, informative and entertainment show, exclusive and live interviews.
President Museveni wadde juzi namulaba apima akawunga kilo 2 tasobola kalya nini bwaba alya kilo 5 oyannema okuliisa eggwanga ne bwe limundekera.
Njagala kwebaza the Alternative Digitalk etuwadde kano ka Mighty Drive era n'abatuwuliriza bonna abali ku mikutu njagala basaba mugendo maaso n'okuwuliriza.
All given to you just a click away on your phone, tablet, laptop and smart TVs as we are streaming live on our social media platforms, on the road and on the go. We are the Alternative Digitalk.
The Alternative Digitalk. Real issues, real talk.
dakika ziri 30 zizino zizakaita kusawa emweyo kumacha. Thank you Lilian Luwede kulwa updates ezo namwe mwebale nnyo monna batwegaseko enchayo olunaku olwaleero. Tunatera okutuuka wakati w'omwezi gwa October, that means tunatera okutuuka we tumaliriza oba ku nkomerero ya guno omwaka. Ekyebuuzibwa resolutions watandika ziwaliyo promises okubanga ogenda nazo maaso. Ebintu bye wali ogambye ogenda kubanga wangula obanga ofuna obanga omaliriza guno omwaka obikozeeko oliwa. That is the question that you should be asking yourself. Omukyala Farida Bikobere yatera okubanga abuuza ekibuuzo ekyo. Amakya malungi eri buli omu atwegaseko olunaku luno olwaleero, olunaku lwakuna. Tuli wano ku Digitalk Studios Makindi otutera okubeera tuyimirira okubanga tubaweereza buli lunaku. Tubeerawo wano nga tunyumyamu emboozi ne Uganda nti twabasuubiza nti buli lunaku ku makya okuva ssaawa emu mpaka ssaawa 3 ez'okumakya tubeerawo wano nga tunyumya emboozi. Maasawo tugenda kwegattibwako abakyala babiri, tugenda kuba tunyumya ku engeri ki abavubuka gye basobola okubanga bazimbamu eggwanga ne libeera lirungi, oba how can the youth build a progressive society in Uganda. Kyekyo ekibuuzo kye tugenda okubanga twebuuza. Era tulina abagenyi babiri bagenda okubanga batwegattako maaso kawa tebannaba kubanga batuuka wano. So in that regard ngenda kwaniza do you think it's abantu bangi abatera nnyo okubanga bakunyumirwa bagamba omukyalo oyo atunyumira nnyo Lilian Luwede omumbeja. I think you are favored. Oba bakunaaza ki? Bakunaaza bikuta bya lumonde. Abula gyobanaliza olweza naku zino olweza tetukyakola bikuta bya lumonde bye bikola. Is that a threat?
To our viewers,
keeping it the alternative Digitalk nze omumbeja Luwede Lydia nayo nako olwaleero.
Yeah.
Nina quote jempulira ng'ensiiwa njagala njogere.
Gituwe.
True leaders don't create followers, they create more leaders. That is the quote of the day. True leaders don't create followers, they create more leaders. Buli mukulembeze wekube mu torch. Creating a followers oba creating abakulembeze balala oba abencha.
Kati banne kuba mu torch feka tubakube mu torch. Muri mu gwafe.
Yeah.
Omukulembeze waffe President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni. Eyo quote yagijamu ndabayo.
Quote eno. Mu 1986 yali agijamu. Naye wenjogerera mu 2022 ndaba nga tagijjamu.
Naye asobola okugamba bakulembeze bangi bamuldinze baleese okusini William Ruto ali Kenya naye omukulembeze yayise mu mikono gya Museveni.
Katumulinda katumuwe ekisanja kino tusooke tulabe butya bwe binaatambula.
Naye ate ekizibu wano mu ggwanga.
But the problem is abakulembeze be tulina mu Uganda, not only President Museveni, but abakulembeze abasinga they are creating followers.
How so?
Teba creating abakulembeze bancha. Teba molding abakulembeze be tunalabako.
Yeah, by the way. It's actually right.
Yes. Nti otunulira oli yayagala abeere n'abantu abamugoberera. Naye bantu abamugoberera tannafunamu yadde abavubuka babiri.
Bamolding agambe. Gawe mungoberedde. Tusobola okubazimba ne mutwala ne mutekinga over ebintu byenkoleredde. Oba kyenzikiririzaamu. But is that because of selfishness? Are we a selfish society? Nsonga ki? Jolowooza.
Selfishness mweri naye bwotunulira abantu abamu abaholdinga leadership positions mu Uganda abamu akiholdinga kuba nti ekintu yayagala nnyo naye abeereko omukulembeze naye nga inakyo sense ndooza nga sinaye calling ye.
Kyogamba okukulembeze nayo calling.
Mulimu waliwo okubanga you're called to be a leader. Nga si byakeera kumakya kubigwamu bugwi yensonga lwaki tulaba abantu nga bamala obbalonda okugenda mu bifo ebyo ne batuuka ate ne babeera opposite ku ki kye baasuubiza na ku ki kye baali babasuubiramu
ne bakola ebintu
ebyenjawulo ebitabajaamu oba ebitakolebwa mukulembeze.
Ate Uganda bwetyo bweri kyo.
Uganda yo bwetyo bweri. Abantu bagala nnyo okubeera ne those numbers nti bwe nkuba laale nina abantu nga 100 ne bantu abo 100 ne bootambula nabo bootambula nabo ku kibinja kyotambula nakyo.
Tubayita bawuji babunyama.
Tekuliiko yadde gwe wali omuldinzi oba gwe wali omentorinze nti mbutuufu ensonga eno eri bweti n'abamu bagenda mu bifo bino ebyobukulembeze nga tamanyi mukulembeze akola kikati ana mentoring ate oba anamolding ate omuntu omulala nga naye kenyini yeetaaga kumoldinga.
But one thing I can confirm mu Uganda nti no President Museveni amoldinze muhozi kaineruka kubeera president waffe. Nakyo kyogerako ekyo.
Kyobala abannakibiina kya NRM badde bagamba nti omukulu ono ababuulire ayagala kwesimbawo come 2026 oba just ali awo anyumirwa.
Katubuuze baagala ki? Omanyi waliwo abantu abeebuuza ebibuuzo. Oyagala ki? Bayibuli naye kibagamba mbu balabira kubikola
anti kakati bo bannakibiina kya NRM ozze obawulirako nga bagamba twagala muzeeyi akomewo ne mu 2026. Bwe bagamba nti twagala muzeeyi akomewo in 2026 ne balaba nga ate munnange omukulu ono bintu byakola ebimu bininga ebiraga nti naye ayagala kujja 2026 kyobala baagala kumanya ayagala kwesimbawo oba bya just for just.
Alright, katulinde tulabe ki ekinaaba kigenda maaso in that particular regard. Okyali ku program bagiyita Mighty Drive twabasuubiza wano ntino tulina abakyala babiri bagenda kuba nga batwegattako. We have a conversation about different things. First of all, the role of young people in creating a progressive society. So bagenda kuba nga banegattako buli emboozi tugenda okuba nga tunyumyako olunaku luno olwaleero twagala tumanyi role ki abavubuka basobola kwekolera kyokubanga bakyusa society yabwe okubanga bagifuula better society at the end of the day. Mawulire amalala tubali tulina gadde mangi nno ndoza lira nayogeddeko ku Major General Dick ono no kati yagenda okubanga commandinga operation Shuja. That particular operation agenda wali maaso mu Congo okubanga to making sure nti no the ADF is counterfeited in that particular part of Africa. So as we're speaking today, Major General, Lieutenant General, by the way, Kayanja Muhanga, Yavuddeyo, he's now Commander Land Forces. Major General Dick Olum, is now the one who is going to be, commanding the Shuja operation. No mwami abadde atachi wali mu Congo era bye bigenda kubanga bigenda maaso tulabe yengeri jana commandinga mu ekikwekwe tekigenda maaso in that particular part of Africa. So ladies and gentlemen, ngai nabasuubiza ba guest bange babano batuuse tugenda kubanga tunyumya ku bintu bingi twagatogereko ku International Day of the Girl Child olwadde lunaku ndoza lwakusatu. Then tugenda kwogerako ne ku independence, tugenda kwogera ku bintu bingi. So go omuvubuka ali eyo. Yes, join the conversation right about now. You can call me live. Nja kuba nkwata ku masimu gamwe maaso kawo. Then you can also keep sending me those messages. Nja kuba nzisoma subsequently nga tugenda maaso ne discussion. Amanyaza Edgar Matthew Karuhanga, and of course on behalf of Digitalk TV wendi wano kubanga tubaweereza paka sawa zibeera 3 ez'okumakya. Yes, I've been joined by two ladies and a privilege to have you both. So I'm going to start with you. You're welcome to the Mighty Drive. It's my first time hosting you. Is it your first time here?
No.
Oh, okay. It's my first time, so I'm lucky to have you. Please introduce yourself to the viewers.
Sure. My name is Denise Ayebare, and I'm currently the Miss Tourism Kigezi, and I'm a founder of A Better Life. I also work with various organizations like Gonza Youth Impact Uganda, Cherish Aid Foundation, as well on issues of climate action, gender equality, and youth empowerment.
Oh, you're doing a lot of things. At a young age. Miss Tourism Kigezi. You're going to tell us about Better Life, but before you do that, let me welcome another lady, Kaitesi Shallon, right? Is it Shallon?
Shallon.
Shallon. All right, I just wanted to make sure that I don't make a mistake. You're welcome.
Thank you.
Please introduce yourself.
My name is Shallon Kaitesi. I am a national coordinator at the International Organization of UN Volunteers. So it is a volunteering agency, but then when under UN. Yeah. I work with various youth-led organizations, still in climate, but also with girl child empowerment. Yeah, so
okay. What do the UN volunteers do?
It is more of a philanthropic work. So it is a matter of helping people who are marginalized through our own sources of income, yeah, and providing things where necessary.
So how do you know that this person is marginalized?
It depends which conditions are they living in, what are they lacking, and how easy can they access social services.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know, in Uganda today, marginalized people have a lot, right? Because when you look at government was giving 100,000 to marginalized communities last year. Could you and the people we are getting the money actually are government officials. So I just wanted to have clarity on that particular issue. So I'm going to start with you. You told us about Better Life. Please elaborate to Ugandan out there. What do you guys do as Better Life?
Well, as a Better Life, we have four offices under it. Yeah. The first one is Zero Poverty, where we are aiming so that we can try to curb down zero poverty. And we also deal with SDGs, like SDGs Advocate. Yeah. But also secondly, we work on youth empowerment that necessarily deals with personal skills, personal development, life skills, business skills. So it's sort of a mentorship about career growth. And then the third thing definitely.
Wait, so it's like capacity building. Yes. So how do you train these people? How do you build that capacity in them?
We do school outreaches. We do in various schools. I think for now we have done like over 25 schools in central Uganda. Then the next thing we do is climate action. We do with urgent climate action to see how it has affected people, refugees, and how it has affected women and children. And then the last thing we do is gender equality. Gender equality. Yeah. So generally it's just about the betterment of people in those four aspects.
Do you believe that there will be such a thing as gender equality in the future? Because I don't think it's there.
No, that is a scam. It's an illusion. It's just that we are working towards women being better than themselves rather than being better than men, because a woman can never be better than a man.
Wow, yeah. Okay, nice to say. Then what's the story behind Miss Tourism Kigezi?
Oh, wow. Well, Miss Tourism Kigezi, let me say, I first contested for Miss Tourism Kigezi because I realized that tourism cannot thrive and strive without climate action. Because we are in an era where we are having biodiversity being destroyed, ecosystems destroyed, and animals are going extinct. So what will the tourists come to see if we do not take this action and make sure we save our trees, we save our forests, all our natural tourist attractions? So that's the reason I decided to contest for Miss Tourism Kigezi. Yeah, and also Miss Tourism Uganda. Oh boy. It was a nice one, it was a nice experience, but for a person like me who can't even catwalk.
How did you become Miss Tourism? Yet catwalking is a challenge.
I mean, yeah, that was one of, I don't know, I tried.
Yeah, okay, wow. All right, so how long is this going to run? How long are you going to be Miss Tourism Kigezi?
It's 1 year and second run-up Miss Tourism Uganda. So.
Oh, okay, so when's your tenure expiring?
I think next year September.
Next year September. All right. Okay, I've been joined by Shallon and Denise, and we're going to be talking about the role of young people in building a progressive society. You can also join the conversation on our social media platforms at Digitalk TV, that is on Facebook, at The Alternative Uganda, still on Facebook, and of course you can drop in those comments on Twitter. We are at The Alternative UGA, and drop those messages, and you can call us live in the next hour of the show, and we'll be having a conversation. So guys, just keep those messages coming through. I'll be reading them subsequently. So let's start off with, before we enter even the role of young people, I want to just pick your views on the International Day of the Girl Child. It has been recently concluded, and you're both ladies, and this was your day. I would want to think. I'm going to start with you, Shallon. Shallon, as we celebrate the International Girl Child Day, where are we at in your lens, in your mind as Uganda? Are we doing things progressively? Do we see are women being empowered more? Are there some challenges? Just give me a general overview of your point of view on this particular, on the girls and the ladies of this country. Are we where we are supposed to be, or we are moving pola-pola?
Okay, so once again, my name is Shallon. Okay, so about the celebrations of the International Girl Child Day, as a country, I wouldn't say that we are not doing anything, because one, we are seeing girls being empowered through education, economic-wise, leadership-wise, and all of that. But then the question is, what is the gap between those girls that have it already and those that entirely do not have it? So you realize that even at a point where we have empowerments going on, even at a point where we have girls being put in education systems or in schools and all of that. But then the question is, from a rural point of view, how many are there? Because you realize that if we are to focus on development and the numbers, you realize that it is girls in the center that have it the most. But then ideologically, girls in rural areas still have a lot of challenges, like really a lot. Even from their psychoanalytic view of how they should express themselves even in public, whether they ought to have education, how their parents treat them, their parents' mindset towards them thriving. So it is still a long way to go. Yeah, and also the fact that I wouldn't say we still have very few girls in leadership, but then the system becomes questionable, where things that would have empowered them to more and more join politics or leadership spaces are still, I wouldn't say very few, but then they are lacking. If we would have a lot of favorable conditions that would allow girls, even starting from their own mindsets, because you realize that at times girls feel like they can't do anything because their mindsets teach them like that. That is how society has socialized them. So at the end of the day, if one, we do not have society change their minds towards these girls, but then two, them themselves do not find potential. We won't have girls in different spaces or in different levels. Yeah.
Do you think this particular challenge of girls' mindset, is it a challenge that we've had from families? Like, is it a grassroots problem?
Yeah, it is a very grassroots problem, because it initially starts with the way how society views girls. So that process of socializing them into different gender roles makes it a problem, right? Because the way how society socializes us girls is you have to be submissive, you have to do this and this for you to appear as a nice woman material, wife material. So at the end of the day, that limits you, right? Yeah.
But where is the thin line, Shallon? Because I believe that there are women who are both submissive, right? They're doing their wifely duties, but then they're still doing something in society. They're creating impact. So where is that line?
So one is that I believe that what they do becomes more eligible when they attain education. So that gap that I wouldn't say very few, but then what girls pick from school and how they've been taught different gender roles becomes a problem. And also the people they look up to in life, right? If we would have women that have made it in life, but then maybe are very submissive and all of that, but then they come back to preach the same gospel, because you realize that what feminists do is at times misleading these young girls. If one, maybe they are going to make it in life economically or financially, realize that their families are not going to be stable. There are girls who are, since they believe that no man can control them, they are going to end up maybe being sexual minorities and all of that, or they're going to have shaky families and all of that. Okay, that wouldn't be the direction for all of, for maybe every girl, but then the point at which they come back to inspire others, like in the same direction, and the direction that makes them contribute to national development agendas is the question.
All right, thank you, Shallon. I'll be coming back to you. We're going to be talking about teenage pregnancy. Let me get to you, Miss Ayebare. What is your general view of the International Girl Child Day that we have recently celebrated as the entire world, and everybody's just saying this day has been designated for girls, and you're a girl. For the time you have been on this planet, how have you seen the girl child evolving? What is your take on generally the International Girl Child Day?
Well, I think as the world, we have evolved and progressed. from the times where girls and women used to be marginalized, oppressed, and all that. I think we're in an era where girls are getting to take up spaces, women are getting to take up spaces, but that's where the problem comes now. I think that even when the Girl Child Day is, there is a lot of toxicity that has moved on, and we're getting backlash even from the boy child, to an extent that we think even the boy child has been neglected for the girl child. Yeah. So I think we have reached an extent where, like Shallon says, the feminist movements are misleading people, where they are giving their toxic narratives, and at the end of it all, I think this is why we are having a lot of toxic narratives coming up in society.
What are these toxic narratives that you're elaborating for just the viewer to know? What are these things that these feminists are saying or doing that are misleading young girls to really think the way they think?
Now, before I indulge into that, we need to agree that a home necessarily has a man as a head of a family, and that's why institutions like families for far too long have survived. So when you just come and tell them that, you know what, a man cannot be the head of the family, you're on your own and all, you destroy that structure that has been put there and that has let like families survive for too long. So that's why we are having a lot of divorces happening, breakups happening, because everyone wants to fight for their space. So that has become toxic in a way or the other, that we do not want to accept nature and how those metrics work. So I think that we are going overboard even for the girl child, because the girl children are being inspired and empowered. When you look at the 1.5 that comes, when you look at the spaces, all NGOs are talking about girl empowerment, but then now the question remains, are they getting the services that they still need? At the end of it all, those people down in the village at the grassroots, are they being empowered the same way these people who are in the system are being empowered? So I feel that even when you're celebrating the girl child, the system works for those who are in the system and not necessarily those who are outside the system. COVID-19 had a very big backlash on us, to an extent that majority of the girls dropped out. When you go down there and you see the number of teenage mothers that are down there, the school dropouts, and you wonder, what is the government doing? They give you statistics that we've empowered this number of girls, but at the end of it all, it is those in the system that are benefiting from the system.
Okay. Before we delve into a question, who are those that are outside the system and who are in the system? I want to also point out, you said family is losing because women are trying to become men or something like that. But then you could also think that men are losing their grip. That we have a generation of weak men. Most of the families you see today have been headed by women. Women are the ones that are taking care of the children. Women are the ones that are supporting. For example, myself, I've been raised by a single mother and she has educated me. And it's a story that many people resonate with. Do you think men have really also, went back or folded their arms for women like yourselves to take over leadership of the family? Because man, if you're not manning up, if you're not doing your role, then the woman is going to become the man, practically. So do you think it's also a reason that has contributed to this?
Yeah, because you see, everyone has a responsibility they have to play in society. But to an extent that you show that someone can do that and they can do it better in a way that you're advocating for them, then it's only right that, you know what, someone is going to hold back and, and show that they can do it better and let you be. But then I think also another thing that has contributed to it is like the era we are in and the generation we are having. All these things of getting around, we no longer have like those values and principles we had like long time that keep us into one place or that let us be. Now we are in a world that has evolved, that we are taking up and embracing Western values. So at that point in time, I do not think it is going to be able to solve all those family structures, but also they can bring up a new generation that has principles and morals.
Okay. Talking about teenage pregnancies, during COVID-19, we saw a lot of girls become pregnant and many have dropped out of school. Some have remained, some have given birth and come back. Shallon, what is your take? How do you feel seeing many of these girls? In fact, for you, we're talking about teenage girls who are like 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and these are the girls that are dropping out of school. What word do you have towards these young girls?
Okay, so first of all, before we even claim that, before you put it that a lot of girls have got pregnant and all of that, at an initial stage when I went to Mbali for a certain project about teenage mothers and all of that, I realized that a lot of girls lack information. A lot of them lack information and end up messing. You see, a girl who is 12, okay, they might have told her that maybe when you have sex with a boy, you're going to get pregnant.
No, they have told her.
They have told them.
They have told them.
But then if the system does not entirely change to start truly educating these girls and engaging them in sexual talks, sexual education, we still have a lot that is going to come up.
But Shallon, let me speak from my perspective. When I was still in primary school, I remember P3, they used to come and they tell us, don't do this. You had a teacher who tell you, if you have sex, you're going to do this. This is how they use a pad. This is how they use a tampon. Like, it was, the information is there in school. I would love to believe parents may be shy, but the teachers have been assertive in making sure girls know this knowledge, and generally young children.
Okay, so you see, at a point where, as Denise said, we have families not doing their roles. If parents do not engage children or their children into sexual education, and they think they are going to leave it to teachers to do that, right? But then you realize that teachers may not have a one-on-one talk with these students, right? But then too, if the family does not get up to pick their role, their socializing role, mothers to be open with these girls. I know we live in a generation where people want to test, see what the results are.
They test
a
what
lot.
They want. They are present continuous. They are testing.
So they want to see what results are.
Yeah.
This is what sex education should be about. And I think it's right now, it shouldn't be limited because we've had girls' hormones change. Like, even a kid of 10 can get pregnant.
Yeah.
So I think if schools are to do it, let them not say, we are going to start from P6, P7 or P5. You realize that even girls in P3 can conceive. So that girl...
Even kids in nursery know sex now.
Yeah. That is the whole point.
Now that is the thing. We are having a degenerative society. I don't know to what extent the things we are watching on TV, the things we are seeing in series are promoting these things that I'm going to be asking you about that, Ms. Ayebare, but just after this short commercial break. Ladies and gentlemen, you're still watching Digitalk TV. My name is Edgar Matthew Karohanga. I am with two ladies. One is Miss Ayebare Denise. The other is Shallon Kaitesi. And we're still having a conversation on teenage pregnancies. And later on in the next hour, we're going to be talking about the role of young people in building a progressive society. And maybe we shall just talk about independence through the eyes of the young people, because many of them are not finding independence relevant today. That and much more is what you should expect in this edition of the Mighty Drive Show. Let's go in for a short commercial break. We shall be right back.
Alternative Digitalk. Real issues, real talk.
Fellow citizens, following the sequence of events, Uganda seems to be at political crossroads.
I'm not a servant of anybody.
Madam, I know the law.
As such, Alternative Digital brings you the Interface Show with retired Colonel Dr. Kiza Besuje.
Let's keep on the same page on Alternative Digitalk,
as he gives you the alternatives on the transition question, rule of law, human rights and freedom, youth inclusion in governance, economic stagnation, as he confirms.
I'll be always here, Saturday from 10 a.m. in the morning. Be there.
Don't miss the live discussion on the Alternative Uganda, Digitalk TV Facebook pages, and the Alternative Uganda YouTube channel.
Hello, beautiful people. You're welcome to the Snap Talk with your girl Teddy Tenjo every Saturday, right from 6 to 7.
It is your responsibility. Omwana wo kubeera mu nyumba nga teyasuze bweru mbo bamubanja rent. Koyo kulaba abalenzi abasajja abafunga. Butuufu tebabuulirirwa nga babulamu.
Towerabira nti tuli wano ku the Alternative Digitalk. Mukwano gwange gwali topic kiri wandyagadde twogereko. Is it about family?
You can take your time. Look for a job, stabilize, men will come. Men will always be there, you will get the men. Bonna goyagala musajja yenna goyagala ojja mufuna.
Embaga ketuuke. Bino bintu byasenga na ojja bafuna.
Naye ng'oli asitudde ttu yakedde ku makyabbaga nti nsitudde ttu. Naye nga mubutuufu agambye nti ye akyali muto.
Is it outside family? Is it society? Oh, could it be relationships? Just be commenting nga topic yonna gyandyagadde twogereko tujja kuba tujogera kwano ku the Alternative Digitalk ku share enganzi the Snap Talk.
Welcome back from that short commercial break. You're still watching the Mighty Drive Show. My name is Edgar Matthew Karahanga. I'm still with two ladies, Kaitesi and Ayebare, and we're still talking about different things. And of course, it is in regard of the International Girl Child Day. Before we went in for a short commercial break, Ayebare, I was coming to you. At what extent are the things we are watching shaping the things that young children or young people are doing that are culminating into pregnancies?
Okay, so you see, like what you watch is what determines who you become and the people you interact with according to those programs and that are happening on TV. But I want to talk about one thing before I indulge into that.
Yeah.
At a point in time that we are having our cultures degenerating and we are having things like morality and lack of ethics in this generation, then what we watch also contributes a very big thing to it. As an African setup and an African community, we have values that for far too long have determined who we are and have given us that sense of identity and belonging in the long run. But a point in time that we are having westernization of ideas, we are having Western civilization and globalization, and that is what determines the cool kids. I mean, a cool kid is one that, you know what, is going to hang out with many girls as possible, that is going to club, you know, that is the definition of cool kid in this generation. So what we watch from the Western civilization, what we see that the cool kids, the whites doing, we want to do that same thing. And that has brought a very big problem and a very big gap between our generation and the generation before us. That's not why we are having the intergeneration, intercoordinate. So because of that, we have had
what is that? Please elaborate it.
Okay, so that is why we are having the old age and the young age not getting together to talk. Like we have had that gap existing and we cannot bridge that gap because what they believe in and what we believe in is totally different. They are sort of conservative. I'm a conservative person myself. And then we want to be liberals on the other hand. We want to do this, we want to do this, all in the name of exposure. And in the name of exposure, we are killing culture, we are killing morals, we don't have ethics, we have no values, no principles. And that has determined like how girls get pregnant also. Because, you know, like, let me say, like in ancient times in Kigezi also, whenever you would get pregnant before marriage, they would throw you off the folds.
Yeah, I saw that it's like a fall that they just throw you down.
Exactly. So all that now is in the past. And we have embraced a generation where getting pregnant before marriage has become a norm. we have embraced it that to an extent that religion itself no longer preaches it, because very few people go to churches in our generation. We need to agree. Even when I say I'm a Christian, you would see very few going to church. Not like the other time when we were kids and they would force you to go to church, Sunday school. Right now, we don't have religion that used to guide. You know, religion acts as a guiding principle in society that's going to bring about norms that are positive. But even besides that, we do not want to take education, those talks, you know, like when they bring about talks in schools and they tell you we are going to have like girl child talk, we're going to have like boy child talk. Many people are going to chop those talks in schools. They're not going to attend
boring things that
exactly.
Don't want to do.
So because of all that, and then now what we watch coupled with what is happening right now in society, it worsens everything.
You get a completely different analogy. Okay, now let me come to you, Shallon. What should we do then as a society? What can we do to make sure that we protect our girls? And not only girls, even the boys. Yeah. Because by this equation of teenage pregnancies, we're only looking at the girls. But we're not looking at the boys who are impregnating these girls. In fact, some are men that are impregnating these girls. So what can we do in order to fight this vice?
Okay, so first of all, initially we have to accept that if we are to engage girls into such talks, we need boys. If we do not empower boys' minds, at the end of the day, they are going to come back and destroy what we've built in girls, right? But then too, if girls are pregnant and it is here, the question is, how as society are we viewing them? Because that becomes a problem. Because in this generation, okay, not in this generation, but then generally, society minds, people mind about their reputation as a family, that some so-and-so's daughters got pregnant, what and what. So in a way of protecting their reputation in society, they are going to throw out to these girls that since you've got pregnant, go to the father.
Yes, some parents have done that.
So that system still destroys girls. They end up messing around, maybe doing unsafe abortions.
So should we condone girls who are playing around and getting pregnant? I had a story one time of this girl. She had a guy she was in love with, and yeah, she was there. The family loved her, and the guy was a DJ. And now she becomes pregnant the first time. The family's like, "Why have you become pregnant? But you still have a family. Let's stay together." Yeah. She becomes pregnant again the second time, and the family says, "Okay, yeah, you still like your daughter." Then when she became pregnant the third time, I was like, "No, please go to your DJ," because now it's becoming more of a choice. It's no longer a mistake. So when we protect, when you don't ridicule these kids, it feels like they take you for a ride.
Okay, so you see, first of all, as society, or as even the education system, or as parents, okay, we might do a very, very big role in making these girls realize who they want to be in life and what path do they want to take. But then it still comes back down to you as a person. Because you get choices. You're like, is this really the path I want to take in life? Is this really what I want to do? So if a girl cannot sit down and realize those dynamics of life, the parts of life and all of that, I feel that it is more of a choice, a personal choice. So I was still telling you, you see, okay, girls getting pregnant, okay, would be a problem. But then the biggest problem is on the aftermath of the pregnancy. Realize that if they were in school, few schools are going to allow them come back. And even they might be above the education age. So I think if the government is to do a lot, is to let these girls come back in schools, because the government has to make them realize that, yeah, this is here, but then your dreams are still valid. You can still go up, take up your education, yeah, and your dreams still become valid. But then the second thing is that families or mothers need to realize that when they send away these children, it is going to become more worse than them having these girls close to them, because you can still guide them that, yeah, you did this mistake, but then let it be a lesson, right? Take care of them through all of that maternal period and all of that, because the moment they send them away, realize that even the boyfriend was actually 17 or a married man, and then this man has nowhere to put the kid, right? So I think families should associate more with these girls, because it is a time where they need their parents. It is a time where they need people who are very close to them, and keep on socializing them in a way that, yeah, this is here, but then it is a mistake to learn from. But then also, it's for a government to put up different inclusive dynamics and measures to make sure that these girls access health, access equal education. Yeah.
All right. I have a message here from a guy called Frank Amoga. Frank Amoga is watching from California, the United States. And congratulations, he was in Abu Dhabi. Now you're in the United States. Where you are Kuchikuba. Amoga says these girls like a lot of money. So this guy is saying these kids, because of their love for money, that's why all these things are coming through. Miss Ayebare, do you agree with Frank Amoga from California?
Well, you know, we're in a generation that puts you on unnecessary pressure.
Unnecessary
pressure? Unnecessary. You know, and when you're pressurized into all this, because even we need to agree to what society looks like. We have the people at the top and then at the bottom. So the point in time that you're not contented with what your parents are providing, what your guardians are giving, and then you're saying someone there, you're still at campus or you're in the same school, they're coming with very different things and they're putting you unnecessary pressure. I mean, it's very unnecessary, by the way, and most of the people give into that pressure. That's what becomes a problem.
But you know, girls, okay, not girls, but these days young people are broke, there are no jobs, and the economy is high, and some of them are getting into relationships just for financial security.
I don't think that's a justification for you to go into a toxic relationship, let's say, just because of the love of money. I mean,
but you know, some of your qualifications as ladies, okay,
and that is where the whole problem comes into, because I believe how society has made relationships and love look like is one that is overrated. Let me say, previously love was based on love was not based on money, like looking for a partner or something like that. That's why I say love these days is like socially accepted madness, because people, the way they are viewing it is totally different from what the concept of love is.
What is the concept of love?
I mean, the concept of love is even though you're broke, you're going to stick together, work together until you grow as a family. But right now, the concept of love is that, oh, you know what, I need a man with money. I mean, that's not love. And at the end of it all, you're going to have problems when that money no longer exists.
I'm going to tell Roger to get you a uniform.
No, I know, but honestly, that's the true concept of love. So now that the love you have in society is sort of incentivized by what is existing, right? Yeah. If there is money, I think you're going to say there is love, and that's an illusion. So love has become a scam. So when that money is no longer existing, then people are going to go out of the relationship. They're going to have toxic relationship, and that's why you're going to hear players coming up. Because even when a boy is broken, he decided to go into the relationship, and then the girl was after something else. At the end of it all, the boy is going to be heartbroken. We think that girls are the only ones that get heartbroken, but also boys do, and that's what brings about that toxicity of being a player, of you know what, I don't care, you know. So that's the whole issue. So, but I don't think that should be an incentive for you to get pregnant or what. It's a personal choice. You know? Okay.
All right, so let's delve into what can they do in your perspective, Kaitesi. Ayebare, what can they do today? What should young people do? What should government do? What should parents do to make sure we fight this increasing, teenage pregnancies?
Yeah, well, the first one should be empowerment. I mean, not empowerment in forms of going there and giving pens and books, giving the pads they do and all that. The empowerment should get down to the change of mindsets. When you bring someone and talk to them that, you know what, at this age, you're going to grow up, get like a career, and you're going to be a very better person in future, rather than when you get pregnant right now and your life is going to end there. So they should embrace the fact that people need a change in mindset. They need mentorship. They need to change the way they view a lot of things, rather than the empowerment, the so-called empowerment that they come and they're going to have pens, they're going to give books, you know, the next time they're going to have a pads outreach. That's not empowering the girl child, because we are living in a society where people are not exposed to all these changes at the grassroots, majority of them. So when you tell someone like, I'm going to use like Karamoja being the farthest from the city. People who are not exposed to all that is happening in the city, or they are in southwestern Uganda, people who don't know what is happening. And you tell them, we're empowering you through pens and books. That's not empowerment. Empowerment begins with what people view society as, what they want to become, and where they see themselves in the next few years. That is what empowerment looks like. So when you tell a girl, this is what we want you to do, this is the career path that you want, and you get that guidance, then a girl is going to have the strongest motivation to actually push you, rather than saying the love, you know, all those funny things. Yeah.
Okay. Just for clarity, by the way, some people promised us pads and they didn't fulfill in 2015. 7 years down the road, the ladies are not the young girls are not getting free sanitary towels. So, Madam Janet Museveni, Minister of Education, quick reminder, 7 years and you're still counting, to wait until your promise is actually fulfilled. Now, my advice to young people out there is that let's just be a bit patient. I remember when I was back then in that age, you know, you want to experiment, you want to orient, but I feel it's all a wastage of time. Right now, just focus on books. You're going to have all the sex you want to have, all the fun, all the dating, all the dates and everything, and sometimes you even get tired of them. So I believe you should focus in school right now, finish your high school. You'll sell those things at university. These university girls can tell you guys at university, right? Oh, yeah. You can tell them, please, what happens in universities. In just a minute, please tell us.
What happens at universities?
Apart from education.
Apart from education, it depends on what you want to do. Everything that you want to do is at university. Whether you want to go for overnights, whether you want to go clubbing, yeah, it's all there.
So guys, you'll have all the fun you want. I don't know why they're in a hurry. Let's delve into the next discussion, building a progressive society as young people. What is our role? First of all, I'm going to start with you, Shallon. Young people of this generation have a lot of challenges. And by the way, we are the biggest. We are 78% people between 18 to 35. We are the many ones, the most, or you know, the biggest number in the country today. And we have a lot of challenges, but I want you to first point out, what is the state of the young people today? What are some of those challenges that we are going through? What are those challenges that you're having as an individual that you feel have not yet been addressed? And if they're addressed, that means we shall be building a progressive society. In fact, are we building a progressive society as young people already? Or just paint a picture for us.
Okay, so initially, as Ayebare said, realize that the system benefits those who are already in the system, right? I won't say that youth empowerment is not here, it is here. But then the rate at which it benefits the inclusivity part of every youth in every society is the question.
Okay.
Yeah. They come provide education, they come and have dialogues, consultations and all of that. But then the question is, even at a point where they call maybe young people in these talks or in these conferences and all of that, the question is, what are the effects or the aftermaths of those empowerments? When you say maybe different civil society organizations, even the government itself, providing education, creating jobs for young people, educating them in different spheres of life, the question remains, yeah, you've empowered them, but then what have you prepared for them after the empowerment? And like that, even as the government has provided education, right? You realize that things do not match at the end of the day, that youths or children that have connections of parents who are already in the systems are the ones who are going to benefit. Even at a point where you're going to come with your first class, your 4 in 4, whatever, when you do not know anyone in the system, it is not going to benefit even at a point where you were empowered, right? So I think those gaps should really be bridged.
But what education are you talking? Are you talking about the UPE? Because that's the free education we have, right?
Okay, you see, even at a point where maybe students are in private schools, even UPE itself, because we have a lot of UPE products, but they've managed to thrive in society. But then if the system is not welcoming you as a young people, like if the system is not welcoming you as a person who is a know what, not a know who, at the end of the day it is meaningless and useless to empower these people if the system is not going to welcome them.
But who's to blame for this systematic problem? Because it feels like it is a big challenge. But who can address this challenge? Who's to blame?
So who can address this challenge best? I think it is the government, right? If systems are let to be free, that maybe people are going to get jobs according to what they have, according to what on merit, right?
Yes.
We are going to have a lot change. Not maybe going, let me say, in UNRWA, and realize it is a whole system of family, the uncle, the auntie, the grandmother, whatever. So if we are to have a free job society where people are going to come, get employed, basing on what they have studied, basing on what they know, but not basing on who they are, I think it is going to work more better for the youths. But then too, if we are to blame, I still blame the government regardless. Realize that we have a lot of good young people out there, good leaders, good economists and all of that, good guys that can sit down on a debate with the so-called MPs and have a very, very beautiful engagement, right? But then if the way how society views them, that as a young person, your views or your talks are not maybe valid, you cannot have a change to society. So that gap between the old generation and the young generation, that someone who is not above 50 cannot be a president of this country, becomes a problem. So if we are to bridge that, we need to have young people that can be let to penetrate into the system freely, even in leadership, even in a job world or in an economic world. If that gap is not bridged, we still have a very, very long way to go.
Okay, I think you mentioned, by the way, a very pertinent issue. I was reading the new vision, I think a couple of days ago, when Muhoozi Kainerugaba was crowned by a general. And the first 3-4 pages, it was just like a family love affair. In the first page, you're seeing an uncle decorating the son and the wife. Then in the second page, you're seeing the sister of President Museveni congratulating First Lady. And then on the third page, then you're seeing Museveni and Muhoozi. And you're like, hey, this is just a family love affair. How beautiful it is. She points out that particular challenge of people getting jobs on merit. And she said, but I'm looking at the perspective of why don't we become job creators as young people, instead of just sitting back and saying, let's look for these jobs, because these jobs will never be enough. What do you think, Ayebare, about this particular view? What should we do? Is job creation something we can think about right now? Do the young people have the capacity to be able to start businesses of their own? Do they have the capital? And maybe, what are some of the other challenges they're facing generally?
Okay, so you see, systems can never work for you if you're not part of the system. That's one thing. But also, beginning a job and creating a job means that you're going to invest, but you can't invest what you don't have. When these youth do not have jobs, they don't have any other source of income. even when you want them to begin from scratch, I mean, even when you want them to begin the farming, you want them to do the other businesses, what are they going to use to do those businesses? And that's where the government comes in with its scam projects and illusion projects that, you know what, we are going to bring about the Youth Livelihood Fund, the Youth Livelihood Program, which have benefited no one, actually.
Yeah, that is a very good point. No one, because I've not seen anybody.
I don't see anyone who has testified and they have said that, you know what, we have got, all I see is the corruption scandals and the money disappearing deep down in the villages. So now the system cannot work for the youth, even when you want them to be job creators, even when they are hustling and doing all that. The government has not put into place the conducive environment for them to have the capital to start up those businesses. But even secondly, when they want to provide that support, it doesn't really exist. It's just that we're going to bring this program, we're going to bring this project, and the people are going to benefit are those in the system, because the young people are not in the system.
Then, but these things are for young people.
Exactly, right? And that's where we need system change.
Okay, what do you mean by system change?
System change means that we need to have inclusivity of young people in all these spaces, no matter which sphere it is. If we are going to start from all these places where you're going to hear that, you know what, maybe the Bank of Uganda governor is 80 years or something like that. I mean, that is not going to work for majority of the population, who are 78%. The system change, it looks like young people going into those spaces, taking up those spaces, making those decisions and policies that are going to benefit or that are going to be a representative of what the majority of the people think in the country.
Okay. So are you sure that in case one Ayebare Denise was to go into such a space, for example, Prime Minister, would there be a difference?
One Ayebare cannot go against all those old MPs that are existing in the parliament.
No, in case, let's say hypothetically, you were to be lucky enough to be one of those, or to be one of the few Ugandans who, young people who can make it to that stage. Do you think you can create that change? Are you ready for it?
Yes, that change can be influenced and decided. But at the point in time that you are against, we only have like 4 youth members of parliament, I think.
Yeah. They can't, from the regions, they pick one,
yes,
west, north,
I think
central,
they can't go against all those 552 when they're making a decision. Definitely they will be the minority. So the system change looks like having majority of them taking up those places, so that even when they have a vote, they can overturn something that is in their favor.
Okay, but then young people, I feel like there are some young people who have sat down and they've innovated, and they're reaping cash, like in the rate of Safe Border, young guy, and he's reaping a lot of money. I'm seeing young people who are doing a lot of innovations, open science, different innovations. Do you think, Kaitesi, let me come to you. Do you think the young people who are actually complacent and their failure is based on themselves, or like they are the cause of their own problems? Do you think so? Because I also see some young people who are always thinking about betting. We see young people who are always in parties to remove vibe. You see, there are some people who are always in jokes on social media. They are memers, so they call themselves. The young people who are in Mukama na Ayamba, thinking about sex and everything. Do you think the youth are also part of their own problem?
Okay, so you see, entirely I don't blame young people to be part of their problems. Okay. But then you see, when you're still in education system of this country, there are times you sit there and you relax and you're like, really? Party. You realize, you understand, yeah? So if you're like, yeah, okay, I do not have anyone there. Even if when I get maybe those good grades and all of that, no one knows me. Yeah. You understand? The same testimonies that come up that, yeah, so and so got a first class, but he's very unemployed and very broke. So these kind of examples, these kinds of things we see going on demoralize a lot of us, right? Yeah. 2 is that when probably the family background is not that well off, it is still going to come back and demoralize you more. When you're running into that system of auntie died when she was broke. What?
Father broke, mother
so
broke.
As a young person, you're going to sit there and you're like,
you get used to being broke.
you get used.
It becomes part and parcel.
Your mindset keeps on evolving in that circle. You cannot think outside the box, right?
Yeah.
You're even at a point where you want to start anything. You're like, how is the system going to welcome me? Am I going to be able to pay off all these taxes and all of that, right? But then, even at a point where youths want to maybe innovate or invest into something, they do not have someone who is going to hold their hand, right? They do not have that sort of guidance that, you know what, when you do this, this is going to come out. When you employ this number and this number, these are going to be your profits. When maybe this business is not going to work for you. So that sort of guidance is not really transpiring into us, ourselves. But then too, the kind of people we associate with, right?
Yeah.
Realize that as a young people, when you get close to people maybe who have made it in life, okay, not really making it in life, but then they are somewhere in life where you're like, yeah, I want to be here. So that sort of guidance is what young people do not have. And at times, as young people do not want to associate with old people. What is this one going to tell me? So we end up losing out on such information, on such guidance, because, yeah, you are going to associate with the same person in the same village.
The one who's as broke as yourself, or even worse.
So there is not going to be any change, right?
Okay. At just 31 minutes past the top of the hour, I'm still with that lady called Kaitesi. Shallon, she is the UN volunteer. She's the national coordinator, UN Volunteers Uganda Chapter, and Ayebare Denise, who is the founder, Better Life. Now, guys, there's something that I wanted to point to you, Ayebare, the education system. I have many people I know, including myself, that we have an A in history that has never helped us in any way. And there are many people who have studied things, and these guys have bachelor's degrees, as you've been saying. But these degrees are just there for, you know, you come and you say certificate, I got this transcript. Bachelor's degree in hospitality, in journalism, in what, whether they're even lawyers who are brokers, I don't know. Do you think the education, I don't know why some people are laughing, do you think the education sector has also contributed to the challenge that young people are facing today, the myopia we have as young people?
True, and that's where the whole issue of having independence becomes a scam, because of the education system.
They are coming there.
The education because the education system we have adopted is not one for our setting. We cannot start learning about I hear California, the Canadian prairies. I mean, that's very useless. And that's why we are not having as many job creators as possible. Because when you see other systems or other education systems, they are the ones that groom people right from the beginning, what they want to become. If you want to become a footballer, right from the beginning you enroll into the football class. Sure. If you want to be a musician, right from the beginning you start music. But our system is one that you're going to learn over 16 subjects. And then when you get to choosing even, you're not choosing something that you love, but actually something that you passed. I might have failed chemistry, but I have a passion of, you know, going into chemistry and doing chemicals and mixing all those chemicals. But at the end of it all, the education system contributes a lot to unemployment, because it doesn't give us the necessary skills to survive in school. You know, you reach outside society and you say, I wish I had learned this, but they didn't teach it in school. You know, you're seeing people surviving. You know, right now we are on the survival mode. We need something, we need those skills. But to an extent, you find yourself, you have no skill, you're in society, you can't help yourself anything, you only have your head moving with Napoleon, and you really can't contribute anything to society. Right. So the education system,
history there.
I mean, when they ask you to talk about the, I don't know if it was the Japanese invasion, the Indian Ocean thing, you just come and talk about it very well. But at the end of it all, society needs job creators. Okay. Society needs people who are going to have the skills that for weaving. But you know what? People have a very different attitude towards technical schools. Yeah. They think that when you go to technical schools, exactly. And that's where the whole problem comes, not knowing that that is what makes society survive. So the education system has contributed to unemployment. Our mindsets We do not know how to change how we view society. You know, when you're there in class and you're learning about all these things, you think you're privileged and you're prestigious, I mean. Yeah, no one casually learns about British Columbia. So you see all those things do not work for the system we are in. The system we are in is one that requires us to use our thinking skills, that requires us to be hustlers. I mean, and you cannot hustle when you have only sub-math in the head. What are you going to do? SADs, vectors? I don't know. So that whole education system has become a scam.
A scam.
Yeah.
It is. You have said it. Now, let me read a couple of those messages coming through right here on our social media platforms. Keep them coming through. I have a guy called Mutale Farouk Hussein. He says, good morning, Alternative Uganda. Good morning to you too. And then Kato says, Denise raises a strong point that many are despising and ignoring. They have tried and are empowering the girl child, and they have ignored empowering the boy child to live with an empowered girl child. Unless the empowerment is balanced on both genders, we shall still face the challenges in that angle, especially where everyone has grown in a society where the man is treated and known to be the head of the family and stronger than the woman. Then Tuliahawe says, for starters, Shallon, please clarify if you're a feminist. You would say that feminists have been and still are there to advocate for rights and spaces for women and the female gender altogether. How do we get to a point where feminism is toxic and misleading?
Okay, so for matters of clarity, I'm a student of gender, Makerere University. I do gender studies. So you see, feminism is not bad, but then the way how it is preached becomes the problem, right? The way how people perceive it becomes a total problem. It is not that we should deal away with women empowerment or girl empowerment and all of that, but then the rate at which we preach out the kind of information we want to reach girls becomes the problem, right? When you have maybe feminists going on to preach maybe the gospel of, you know what, a man cannot be above you, right? I think it is, this information should be more of empowering you to be yourself, right? Empowering you, not maybe be more of submissive, but then empowering you to be yourself, but then thrive for your own betterment, right? But then not entirely empowering you, like overly empowering you that you're going to come up, no man is going to be above you and all of that. So you're going to enter into a family system that you're not going to coordinate. So somehow, somewhere, it is going to affect the young generation, even the kids that are going to come up, growing into broken families, right?
Okay. Yeah. All right. This gentleman says, I hear the true concept of love at Denise. Is it still a valid you personally would opt to go for? ? And do many young people know the true concept of love? ? Watch away. Denise, this guy, I think, is maybe the concept of love is not really demystified by you. All love depends on the beholder.
Oh boy, that's very interesting. But, well, that's why I said love right now looks like it doesn't exist in our current generation, because majority of the people are incentivized to go into relationships because of other different things. But there are some people like us who still believe that that concept of love of all generations still exists. I mean, yeah, it is just whether you're broke, whether there is nothing, you guys will strive together. Or whether you give me a uniform.
Are you in love, Denise?
No. I do not believe in love. But no, this generation's love. I mean, like what incentivizes people to go into relationships, what people determine as love. That's why I said it is a socially accepted madness.
Okay, yeah. And this gentleman also reiterated, he said socially accepted madness is the point. And he puts on some laughing emojis. Then let me go for the last message. Say, so if we make it pleasant for the pregnant girls, they make it normal and we may face an even worse crisis. So how can we constructively and considerably handle this business that those who already are pregnant are not crucified, but also deter those who haven't, stay away from it? Denise.
Okay, so, well, there are very many circumstances under which people get pregnant. Some might be undesirable, like out of rape, out of defilement and all that, to an extent that they get pregnant. But I do not think we should accept, whether it is through rape or what, pregnancy before marriage cannot be accepted in a conservative society. It is not one thing we should normalize. Because to an extent that we normalize it, that's why many people are going to find no problem with it. Yeah. Just like many of our values have deteriorated because we have normalized them, you know? So if we start normalizing teenage pregnancies, we're going to have people going in for sex because they think getting pregnant is normal and it is okay. They're going to be okay with it. So we should still deter it and detest it so that we can have a society that is going to have upbringing. But if it happens, I think these girls should still be given a chance based on circumstances under which they get pregnant, and under what circumstances, because they lack the information, there is no informed consent. But also thirdly, these girls still deserve to be humans or to be treated as humans. It's not entirely them that are supposed to be blamed, but also society are supposed to be blamed. You see, we're in a society where we are thinking of individualism. You know, like back in the days, would be raised by a community. You know, a whole community would be responsible for you. You're there, someone is screaming from the top of the mountain, do not play there, do not do this. But right now, it's all about us individuals, which is a very bad thing. Because I think as society, we are interconnected. When something that happens in society that is undesirable, then those different people are still going to stigmatize you. But to an extent that we are still, as a society, we're not caring about individuals, but also how society views different things, then that's a point in time that we need to agree that we cannot accept them, but how society values and narratives should be protected.
Okay. Last but not least, so if you don't know someone, Shallon, if you don't know someone, Shallon, do you throw in the towel and then expect the change we want to see? With that background and approach, how do we then blame the system for not including us? Because then we are not even positioned for the change itself, this gentleman says.
Okay, so you see, yeah, we don't know anyone. But then it comes back to us. Who do we want to be in life? Because that is the only driving factor, right?
Okay.
When you're messed up with who you see in yourself, it becomes a problem, even at a point where you have someone in the system. We've seen rich kids becoming drug addicts, becoming the opposite of their parents, the opposite of their relatives. Yes. So the driving factor in us young people is the direction we want to take in life and who do we really want to be, right? So I think that keeps us on track and keeps on inspiring us.
Okay. So we should decide who we really want to be.
Sure.
Because the decisions you make determine the life you lead. Now let's delve into the last discussion because we're coming to the end of the show. I think we have like 8 minutes to 10. I'm going to start with you, in fact with you, Kaitesi. Independence, Uganda at 60. How far we've come from 1962 up to 2022? It's a long time, right? And you have grown up at a time when we had already got independence, I would like to suppose. And in your own lens, what is there to celebrate Uganda for at 60? There must be something. There should be something. At least we have good roads and we have a very good president.
No,
who can lead a country for 36 years? Hey,
no, we have Inter-Express, not good roads.
Yeah. Uganda at 60.
And that is a tricky question, but okay, the government has done something, but we are not where we deserve to be.
Where do we deserve to be?
We deserve to be in a system or in a country where human rights are very valid, when education is very inclusive, when the health systems are very inclusive and can be really be accessed, like the whole point of social welfare, people's social welfare and accessibility of social services. But then Another thing is that we deserve to be in a system of good leaders, because it is something that has entirely destroyed everything. Something that has entirely destroyed whatever people are trying to build, right? One is that if we are celebrating independence, but then the system of leaders we have is not something that is very favorable. They are not leaders that are selfless in sort of representation. They are not leaders that are going to sit down and listen. They are not leaders that are going to come back and maybe take people's opinions and choices as something valid. They are not leaders that are going to come back and decide people in the system of decision making and policy formulations. I think we entirely have nothing to celebrate.
Wow, we entirely have nothing to celebrate apart from the expressway. Ayebare, well, Uganda at 60. Where do you see us for the time we have been? Because we have evolved, by the way, guys. Let's first comment some things. We came in, we got independence, then people stormed the Kabaka's palace, many people fought. We had a very good Idi Amin, who was the dictator of the century, so they call him, some people call him a liberator. Then we have liberators that have turned to dictators. How do you paint the picture of Uganda at 60? What is that celebrating?
Well, it's not very easy to make headlines everywhere because of corruption and human rights abuse. But you see, as a country, where we are supposed to be, like Kaitesi says, is not where we are. Because corruption has become a way of lifestyle in the country. Yeah, where people view corruption as a means to life, as a means of living. We are at a point in time, we would like to thank God for bringing us this far. And the leaders he has given us, well, I've never seen any other president in this country. Yeah. Our neighbors are changing presidents. They're having the best of democracy.
They've changed 4, and in those 4 tenures, we have had 1.
Yeah, and the promises, the fulfilling of all these promises, historical precedence has proved that actually everything that is said on a national address never comes to pass most of the times. Whether it is a change or whether we're going to have a health center built or whether we're going to have a road constructed. You know, it is very funny. Like one time in my village, I come from Rukunjiri district, and my member of parliament came and promised us that, you know what, we're going to have this road constructed. People voted him. He came and packed his cars, you know, construction. We were very happy that it was going to take place. The next morning after voting and all that, the next week the cars were gone. Till now our roads are still the same. And well, the only thing is that when tourists come into Uganda, oh boy, Entebbe Road looks very good. You know, it looks very attractive and you would know that this is the best country one has to live in. But then people are being abused. Human rights are being abused. People are being tortured day and night. People are not in the system. The governments are abusing the education system. The money that is meant for the people is not working for the people. The taxes that the people are collecting are not benefiting them. So what's there to celebrate? We can't say we are celebrating anything that is evolving and progressing in a society where people are still tied down to a system that is not benefiting them. I think for us to celebrate, we only celebrate a system that benefits the people. But our system has not benefited the people, even to the grassroots.
Uganda has been ranked as one of the most literate countries in Africa. Aren't we like 3rd or 2nd?
Literate in terms of education, the education we are receiving, and we are unemployed. And after studying, what next?
By the way, Zimbabwe is the most educated country in Africa.
But it is the poorest. It is ranked among the poorest in Africa still.
Yeah, in the world as well.
Yeah, so a system that we want is not that we have the good education, but at the end of it all, do we have that lifestyle we need? Do we have what is providing for us the jobs as young people? After getting educated, are we just going to speak English on the streets and, you know what, go home and eat on it? We cannot feed on English now.
Okay, you first finish the point because I want to come to Kaitesi.
Yeah, so celebrations we can only have celebrations when we are happy. But we are a very unhappy generation, starting from how broke we are, and we cannot find anything to do. And what people have resorted to is kusimbla only, and that was
creating happiness, right? Shallon, you have talked about all these things, and you're mostly pointing out the challenges. But don't you think there are some good things?
Okay.
Please also shed light on some of those.
Okay, I'm not one person who wants to throw a lot of shade on the government. Yeah, we've done a lot, but a lot has been done. Like, we have to appreciate what has been done.
Okay.
Yeah, we've seen schools coming into existence. Okay, schools are here. Hospitals are here. Roads are here.
But they're conditioned.
The high taxes are here. But then the question, where the problem comes from, is in a question of inclusivity. Who accesses what, which rate, and which category is that person, right? And which area is that person in? You see, if we are to celebrate schools, we have to ask ourselves a question. How many people are accessing free, like really free education in rural areas? You see the whole picture of UPE, USE and all of that, that it is free education. Actually, it is not entirely free. But then there are very a lot of people or parents that cannot even afford the smallest, right?
Yeah.
Even if it is only money for lunch.
There are people who don't hold 1,000 UGX in a month. Takwata nusu lukumi in this country, they're there. They don't have 1,000.
So if that sort of system has not changed, if that sort of system that can allow us to have a lot of teachers, well-qualified teachers in these schools, and increasing that rate of student to teacher ratio, we still have a long way to go.
All right. Uganda at 60 and just 51 minutes past the top of the hour. We've come to the end of this discussion. But before we go, I'm going to pick just your minds, guys. I know people who have been watching, you want to first know more about you. So Ayebare, when you're not doing serious stuff and you're not at school, what are some of those hobbies you enjoy?
Outside school and what we are doing. What else I do is literally debating.
What do you enjoy? What do you do?
Yeah, I enjoy debating and casually going out to judge debates on weekends. You know, that's what I enjoy doing, and that's what I do outside.
Don't you enjoy
school,
Simbula and things like that?
For a record, I go for overnights.
You could Simbula in the overnights. That's a good thing, by the way, to do.
Okay, so to me,
what are some of your hobbies?
For a record, I'm a workaholic.
Oh.
Okay, I'm one person who wants to try out, like, I want to learn. If today I'm maybe judging debates, tomorrow I want to go into spaces of feminism, tomorrow I want to go here, tomorrow here, like, I'm one person who wants to learn a lot of variety of things. So it has helped me.
So how do you have your fun?
My fun? I get fun through what I do, by the way.
By working, you're having fun.
Let me tell you, when as a young person you love what you do, you really find fun.
Okay, yeah, but of course there are times you have to enjoy other fun.
Yeah, I enjoy the other bit of life with maybe families, friends and all of that, but then I love civic work. A lot. Like, me working with any NGO is my passion, working in any philanthropic sort of setting. There are things I love doing in my life, so I find joy.
Okay, for me, I just enjoy poetry. Guys, let's go in for your parting shots, everybody. Thank you for coming through. What are your parting shots in just like 30 seconds?
Well, I would like to tell every viewer out there and every person watching that sometimes we do not necessarily to blame the government, but we also need to ask our question, what are we doing to be better people? What have we done for ourselves? If the government was to do its role, are we playing our role as young people? So that's a question I leave for all of you to think about and to game up, and we start playing our role as young people and not necessarily entirely blame the government.
Okay, let's stop being crybabies in just a summation.
Yeah, I would also take the same direction. So to me, I believe that when we change our view towards certain things. We've changed our lives and we've changed a lot. You see, even at a point where government policies are here and things that are going to benefit us, but then if we still have that mindset where they're going to come and just steal money, and realize that few young people go into this system to benefit actually, or maybe take part. So I think as young people, we need to take a path of where we want to be in life that will help us focus more.
All right, thank you so much, Ayebare and Shallon. It's been a pleasure having you on the show. I can't wait to have you next time. You guys should come back, right? And this time we're going to be talking about arbitrary arrests, tortures, those things. Are you ready for them?
As long as we are not tortured.
People don't come for us.
We've come to the end of this discussion today morning. It's been a pleasure having these two ladies here on the show. And of course, it's always the best pleasure having you watching us on this particular discussion. My name is Edgar Matthew Karuhanga. Today, we're going to be having the Diaspora Link happening by Mr. Nixon Praise, and he'll be right here on Digitalk TV. And of course, in the evening, around 8:30 p.m., we shall be having the Fancy Flow with Teddy Tenjo Nabukera. My name is Edgar. On camera was Lilian Luwede, and Roger Studiahabo is there. And of course, Arnold Mukose Anthony, the program's director, Kato Tumusime, they're all here to make sure that this show is a bliss. Now, you can also advertise with us in case you want to. You can advertise your products on the various shows that Digitalk TV has, or you can actually become a partner or decide to partner with us in various spheres. We do videography, we do live streaming, we do photography, we do events management and everything. So in case you'd want to partner with us in those particular departments, you can call the number 0701 800 212. That number belongs to Mr. Mukose Arnold Anthony. My name is Edgar. Good morning. See you next week. But tomorrow we're going to be having the Mighty Drive, by the way, by Arnold Mukose and Farida Bikopere and Omulangira. See you tomorrow.
Alternative Digitalk. Real issues, real talk.